servant's heart. Welcome to the podcast. Inspiration, motivation takes. Listen to the podcast. We're all about to talk about life. Our guests will share their life story. We want you to success in life and business. We're ready and we will start shortly. We're gonna talk about life. We're going to speak on business. You're gonna shine bright. We are going to witness business with a servant's heart. With hosts Steve, Ramona, and Renee. Inspiration, education talks. Listen to the podcast.
One. Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host today, Steve Ramona. I am so thrilled to have you join us today. We dedicated this podcast and the idea of exploring the idea of doing business and living life with a purpose. And that purpose is servant's heart. If you approach that with your work and your lives, I know you'll make a difference, because talking to my guest before the show, it's impacted her tremendously. She's a true servant's heart. Wait till you hear her. And we also created this show to motivate you, inspire you, and educate you to make an impact in your world. It's not about me and my guest. We want you to learn this stuff. You go out to your world and impact your world. And with that being said, I want you to think about today how you're going to serve yourself, serve others, and what impact will you create today. Now, the key word I circle all the time, and I don't know why I do that, but I circle it. I don't know what you call that, but whatever. Today is the big word there, because I have people reaching out to me going, you know, I heard you, I listened to your great show, and I waited. And 2 months have gone by and they're reaching out to me. Don't let that happen to you, because you know what? You could truly make a difference with that. And are you looking to grow or scale your company? Today's episode is proudly sponsored by our incredible partner, Pantheon Alliance. Imagine being part of an exclusive community of high-income, successful business owners and entrepreneurs from very diverse industries. They're building a community where they become a thought leader platform, an expert, but more importantly, making a change and impact in the world. If you'd like to learn more about Pantheon Alliance, please reach out to me and I'll get you all the information for that. With that being said, my guest is making an impact in business. And it came from her corporate background. And a lot of my guests have come from corporate and said, you know what? I'm done with corporate. I can make more of an impact by doing my own business. And we talked about this before the show, but purpose is very important when you start a business, because it's going to be hard. With that being said, I'm so excited to welcome Renee to the show.
Well, thank you, Steve, for welcoming me to the show. I am honored and privileged to be a part of your platform today.
Thank you. You're a servant's heart by looking at your background and everything you do. But I want to start from corporate and that bridge to starting your own business. What was your purpose of doing that?
Yes. So it actually started in church. So yeah. When I start in church, I think that's just the foundation of it all, because I started in children's ministry when the pastor made a call for volunteers to go and serve in the church. I ended up leading a group of teachers in the nursery. And as I was leading this group of teachers, my leadership skills just kind of naturally developed as we engaged in different, processes and programs and arranging curriculum for our babies to learn about the love of Christ. It just really evolved from there. And I actually ended up serving up in that children's ministry for about 15 years. But it was through that process that I honed these leadership skills, these speaking skills, and kind of molding people into seeing their gifts, their natural gifts and skills and talents. And when the opportunity presented itself for me to leave corporate America and start on my own, it was very scary. It was because I'd always held on to the security, I put that in air quotes, security of corporate America, the 401k, the benefits, the paid vacations, and things like that. And there was just such security in that. So, and it took such a long time for me actually to make that switch, because when I started the business, I was still working my corporate job during the day. And then at night, I kind of dabbled into my business. So I could kind of ease myself into this entrepreneurial thing, because it certainly is not for the faint of heart. But then I found myself, Steve, where I was like working 8 hours a day from 8 to 5. I'd come home, cook dinner for my husband, or at least try, before I jumped into my work for my own personal clients. And I sometimes wouldn't get to bed till like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then have to get up again at 6 to get ready to be at work again by 8. And this cycle continued on and on, month after month after month. And Steve, I was tired. I was literally tired, could not function. And I pride myself on excellence. I'm the granddaughter of a sharecropper who we were the only Black family in this community where we lived with Amish people. So as the only Black person in our community, we took our family name very seriously and had this extremely high standard of excellence that we were just built. It just was ingrained in us because it is a representation of our family. And so when I found myself not operating at that level of excellence for my daytime employer and my clients, and I was like, something's got to give. This is not healthy. This is not okay. This is not excellent. And excellent is something that we must be in order for people to have trust in us and count on us and feel like they can really rely on what we have to say, because we're people of our word. So I discovered then that I needed some help. And when I made that discovery, I made a call to my cousin. She shared some information with me about a friend of hers who was in a similar situation, who had a similar background. And so I said, let's see if we can work together. And so I started sending her my client work during the day with this 3-word email all day long. Please assist, period, thanks, exclamation point. And I just did that all day long, Steve. And when I tell you what a game changer it was in my life, it really helped me to make that break from corporate America into being my own entrepreneur and a business owner, because I discovered the power of virtual assistants for my own self. And I know how well it works.
It's funny how church can born business opportunities. I all the time, monthly, I get some type of opportunity. Little tip for you out there, you're part of a church. Not saying to pitch yourself, but there's a network there that you can work with. I want you to talk about, because you learn the corporate, you're here now with the VA. I hear all the time for entrepreneurs, I don't have time. Mm-hmm. Talk about time and how you solve that.
Yes. So as I was just mentioning, I too discovered how little time I had available. And when I was able to bring someone on the team to just join me, just one person, to help offload these things, I could delegate these email tasks to be done to someone else. That freed me up to cook my husband a decent dinner.
Decent.
Or to actually maybe watch a TV program with him, or go on a date.
Yeah. Wow. Dave. Wow.
Right. So I'm just like, I know what it's like to not have enough hours in the day to do all the things that need to get done. And when you allow yourself the opportunity to engage with someone else to help lighten that load, I consider that, Steve, right on the same level as self-care as like weekly massages. Everyone needs that for peace, for relaxation, to decompress. An executive assistant who is virtual can do that exact same thing, have that exact impact on your life when you bring them on.
You know why I love what you do, and I didn't tell you this before, and I should have. My dad always told me in the 60s and 70s, he was a contractor, don't recreate the wheel. I'll never forget to the day I die. That's what you're doing. Like, hey, don't try to do podcast production. We'll get into your services here. If you can get somebody else to do it and make enough money to pay for the VA. So I want you to talk about some of the services you do and what time you save with those services.
Yes, absolutely. So when I first started the business, Steve, it was primarily providing administrative support, because that was my background. I was an executive assistant to the C-suite for about 20 years, supporting Fortune 100 and 500 presidents and CEOs. So I knew what that life was like. I loved it. I looked forward to it. It got me up every morning, excited to go to work. So that was my passion, was to do what I did every single day. And so when I decided to start a business, I just decided to do what I knew how to do and do what I love. And so because I had become so skilled at streamlining systems and processes, I was able to easily incorporate those similar processes across multiple industries with different clients, no matter what industry they were in. And so we'll do email management, calendar management, travel arrangements, expense reports, doing presentations for the board meetings, all of the different things that need to get done on an administrative scale. When you don't have to do those things, it frees up hours and hours and hours of your time so that you can focus on the things that are critical to the business, casting vision, helping to dream again about what could be, because now you've got some time and space and capacity in your brain to actually focus on those things because you're not dealing with those administrative tasks. We've since evolved from doing just administrative work, and while we still do that, we also do social media management and engagement because, every company needs a social media presence, but nobody has the time to do it. Let us take care of that for you. And you can have the presence and not have to deal with the time that it takes to be present. And we also have, in the last year and a half, evolved into remote video podcast production services. So as I was mentioning to you before, I also have a podcast, and we have several podcast clients who are producers, and they've exposed us to this whole podcast life and shared with us all the tips and tricks of what it takes to make a great show. So once we learned that, we were, incorporated it ourselves. And then once we started incorporating it ourselves and putting our own little, twist on it, we decided to offer it as a service starting last year. So we have been producing our own shows since last year for our own podcast clients.
It's very cool. Why do you love podcasting so much?
Oh my goodness. It's like getting a college education for free. Guests that we have on our show are just brilliant, and they bring with them these subject matters I have no idea about, whether it's legal matters as it relates to entrepreneurs, HR issues, marketing, branding, get visibility, all of the different things that are required of every single business owner. I don't have the time to go to college and learn how to be an expert in all of these things. And so when you can bring a guest on who shares their gray matter for free,
I love it.
It's just fantastic. And then it benefits the entire audience. So that's one of the things I love the most about podcasting is the amount of knowledge you can gain from the guests and the relationships that get developed over time, because there's a connection that gets made when you're talking, in the green room, what we call it, the green room behind the scenes before you go live, and you're just getting to know each other. And, there's just so much that we have in common with one another. And it's just those relationships continue to get nurtured over time. And they just become some of the best friendships even down the road.
I love your passion because I agree with you 1,000,000%. We were very connected in our green room because of the love of podcasting. And not for, she hasn't mentioned one thing about sponsors. Now you could do that. You can sponsor your own company, but she didn't mention anything about that. She does have a sponsor, but again, these are the more powerful tools than going up, I need a sponsor. Can you tell us a success story, one of your clients that you VA'd? I call it being VA'd and help them.
Yes, I love it. I think I might steal it, Steve.
Steal away. You could have it.
So we have so many success stories. One that really resonates with me is our client named Katie. She is the owner of an information technology company that supports the senior living community. And she had been a solopreneur for years and very, very successful doing things by herself. But Steve, she was so tired and overwhelmed when she called us. We actually met in at one of my corporate jobs years and years and years ago. And so when I sent out a message on LinkedIn talking about how I was starting this business, she was like, oh, well, here, let's have a conversation. So we had a conversation and she said, I've been doing everything myself. I'm ready to give it a try. So she signed up to work with us. And one of the first things she asked us to do was to help her process payroll. She had contractors working with her, and they were notorious for being late submitting their timesheets. But when they did, it was all by paper or Excel spreadsheets or whatever that needed to be tabulated and calculated and then put into the system for processing payroll. She used to have to do all of that for all the contractors on top of everything else that she had to do. When she assigned that to us, she gave us the instructions on how to do it, gave us the permissions to gain access to the systems. We did all the things that needed to get done. And she was able to run payroll by pushing the button one time. All she had to do was push a button and payroll was done. So what used to take her hours and hours, we took that from her. And so when we got on the phone after the first round was done, Steve, she literally had tears in her eyes. And she said, I can't believe I've been doing this for so long by myself. I've been carrying the whole entire load all these years, and I didn't have to. These services are available. And so when we can impact lives in that way and free up so much time and just provide that relief and release that burden, be that place that people can come to, it just is such a fantastic feeling. And it truly does get us up every single morning, because not only do I have a servant's heart, but our entire team of virtual assistants all have servant hearts. And we look forward to serving our clients every single day.
It takes a team too. And I'm glad you mentioned that. It's so powerful in whatever you do. And also too, I know people listen, I've talked to people, it's like, yeah, I'd love to hire Renee, but it costs this much. I'm going to guarantee you, audience, and if you want to back this up, I'm sure you can, Renee, her income increased, meaning she paid X amount to Renee to do the VA, which there's value, you got to pay for it, but she didn't lose money. It wasn't like she spent $10,000 a month and, was making $1,000 a month and every month making, it doesn't work that way. A VA is somebody that fits into your lifestyle, your business, to where you need to get more time.
Yes,
with that go ahead.
Yes, with that, you're able to go out and bring in more business or focus on nurturing those relationships too. And so I love that point that you made, Steve, that there is an investment in you, but it's an investment in you as a person, you as a business owner, and the benefits of doing it far outweigh the, menial costs, associated with it.
Exactly. I like the menial cost. And again, that's perspective to everybody. But my mentors always told me, you got to spend money to make money. Every single one of them. When you make money, put a little bit for your personal. I use 50% for the rule, 50% personal, 50 cents goes back into paying Renee and whatever you're paying for. So yeah, this is great. You guys get it in the VA stuff. One thing I want to talk about that I'm pretty excited to mention is you're a Dale Carnegie leadership training coach.
Yes.
Leadership's important in any business. Why did you pursue that, and how's it influenced you?
Oh my word. Dale Carnegie is a genius. He was a genius. And the principles that he developed were just so life-changing. For me personally, when I went through the program as a participant, it was so impactful and just completely changed how I engaged with people. It completely changed how I thought about myself. It helped me to put others first, which I apparently had a problem with in the past. And so I went through the course, and when I learned all of these new skills by applying the Dale Carnegie principles, and I was happier, I was a better employee, I was a better team member, I was a better speaker, I was able to stand up for myself and defend myself in a professional, non-offensive way. One of the curriculums that we use to go through the course is How to Win Friends and Influence People. I think it's one of the books that he wrote, as well as How to Stop Worrying. And when you're going through those books as a course, it really changes your life. It changes how you see things. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how you treat people. And when I saw it for myself firsthand, the change that it made in me, I wanted to have everything to do with being the one to teach people how to do the exact same thing. So when the instructor for my class shared with me that there was an opportunity to be a coach or to assist the coaches, I said, count me in, coach.
Bring me into the game.
I'm there, put me in. I'm there. And it was so rewarding because the next round of classes that came through, you could see them walking through the door on day one. And week after week after week of taking this training course, you see them just change, evolve like butterflies. And then on graduation day, they are completely different people. Completely different people. And I'm just like, what happened to this timid little person who wouldn't open her mouth? And now she's loud and everybody can hear her and we want to hear her. And now she wants to be a coach. You know, I mean, it was just so rewarding. I loved it.
Oh man, I'm glad I mentioned that because your passion is just pouring out of you. We're coming to the end here. So when you hear the word servant leadership, what thoughts come to your head?
Servant leadership to me is putting others first. I think that's the most basic bottom line way of putting it. To me, it's not thinking so much about what's in it for me, but how can I make somebody else's life better because of their time that they've engaged with me? What can I do to bring some joy to them? What can I do to lighten their load? What can I do to bring a smile to their face? No matter what that looks like, whether I'm, serving a client or I'm, in a bathroom washing hands with somebody who just happens to be at the next sink. You know what I mean? Like when our paths cross, it's an opportunity for me to serve you, whether it's with a kind word or doing your emails.
Yeah, no, it's powerful. I'm going to reiterate something you said. Make somebody's life better. Audience, think about that. That's how simple as it is. It's more complex than that, and it's a mindset thing. So thank you for saying that, because I'm going to use that myself. Make somebody's life better. I call uplift, but whatever words that you want to use. God, you're such a blessing. God bless what you're doing. Let's end. We're getting to the end. Go ahead.
I'm receiving.
Oh, bring it on. Open those doors. We're coming in. I want to end with a very fun question. So Renee, you have a reservation at a restaurant, table of 4. You're going to obviously sit in one chair. In the other 3 chairs, dead or alive, who you're going to invite, why would you invite them, and what food would you order?
Holy camole. What a great question.
You can have cannolis. I love cannolis.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
So in those other 3 chairs, I think I would invite Jesus. I would invite probably I was not prepared for this question. I'm sorry, Steve. So
it's okay. No, it's the whole idea.
I would invite my grandmother, and I would invite my best friends, Leslie and Lavana. They'd have to share a chair.
That's okay. We'll bring extra chair. It's your table. Add another seat. I'm okay with that. That's your chair. So what are we eating?
Okay, and so we're eating Italian, a great lasagna. I think we're going to have some great lasagna with an amazing green salad with the best Italian dressing that's mixed with maybe a little ranch, because I just do things like that.
I love
it. And that tuxedo cake from Costco for dessert, along with the cannolis.
Renee, bring the cannolis. It's Italian. I shouldn't do this at lunchtime here in California, but that's okay. I'll go eat lunch. I'm getting hungry. What a great table. And I love that. I appreciate you. You're a servant's heart. you really care about people. You have a business that you're bringing value to them by helping them grow and scale. And that's so powerful. I know audience out there is thinking, how can I support and connect with Renee? So how can they do that?
Feel free to send me an email, Renee@executivehelpnow.org. Our website is executivehelpnow.org, even though we're not a nonprofit. The .com thing is a whole nother story. I'll just share that another day. Or if someone thinks they might need a VA right now, but they're not sure, they're kind of on the fence, they can text the letters VA now to a phone number I'm getting ready to give you. And when they send that text to that number, they'll get a little brochure to help them kind of navigate through those questions to ask to know when they're ready. So if they text VA now to 1-866-943-3591, they can get that little brochure to help them out.
That's fantastic. And I'll have in the show notes as well. So audience, don't worry about remembering or go back and listen and get the number. Thank you so much for being a blessing on this show.
Thank you, Steve. You are a blessing for having this show.
God bless. Thank you.
That,
I love it. And audience, do me a favor. She's awesome. I've said it a number of times. I'll keep saying it. But subscribe to the YouTube channel, not for the usual reasons you think, but you'll have access to her show. Because a lot of times, if you're listening to a show, you don't get everything. You might be working out, right, or whatever, commute. You might miss it. So now you have access to it easier. And then, of course, any great guests like I have today with Renee, you're going to get input from that. The more other important thing, why to subscribe, family and friends. Hey, I just listened to this podcast. Joe, I know your business is struggling because you're doing all this stuff. You can send the podcast to them and go, hey, I just heard Renee on. She could probably help your business. What a great way to market somebody's business is just giving them that YouTube link. So go ahead and do that. The other thing is comment on the YouTube channel. Comment for Renee. I'll get to her, make sure she gets it because I know it's important and she'll reach out and reach out on her podcast as well. But the other reason is critique this podcast. Me and Renee know this is about you, the audience. It's now about us. We want to make it so it helps you guys to support you and educate you. So any critiques, good or bad, I'd love to hear those and I can implement them in the podcast. And as always, bring it on. Look what she's doing. She's bringing them. It's my kind of girl right here. And as always, me and Renee want to thank you for watching and listening to this podcast. And we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.